The 1996 edition of the New York City Building Code, specifically Chapter 27, Article 242, incorporated the National Electrical Code, or NEC, by reference. Furthermore, Section 27.321 of the New York City Building Code stipulated that the NEC would take precedence if any conflicts arose between the New York City Building Code and the NEC. Consequently, the 1996 NEC, which included Article 334 pertaining to non-metallic sheathed cable, would have been in effect in New York City from that point forward. However, New York City maintained a separate electrical code that was later amended to align with the 1999 NEC. A concern regarding NM cable being susceptible to damage in basements falls under the purview of the 1996 NEC, specifically Section 334.15, titled Protection Against Damage from Other Causes. This section contained provisions addressing the installation of NM cable in basements. Previously, the code mandated that NM cable should not be run closer than 6 inches from the floor in basements or through joists in unfinished basements or cellars. It is important to note that this requirement was subsequently revised in the 1999 NEC, which increased the minimum distance from the floor to 18 inches. Therefore, electricians and inspectors need to be cognizant of these code revisions and ensure compliance with the applicable regulations when installing NM cable in basements. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards and guidelines for electrical installations in the United States. It is published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and is updated every 3 years. The NEC is not a law itself, but it is widely adopted by state and local jurisdictions as the basis for their electrical codes. The purpose of the NEC is to provide a set of rules that will help to ensure the safe installation and use of electrical equipment. It covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. The NEC is divided into chapters, articles, and sections. Each section contains specific requirements for electrical installations. Electricians and inspectors must be familiar with the NEC in order to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant with local codes. Article 334 of the NEC specifically addresses non-metallic sheathed cable, commonly known as NM cable or ROMIX. NM cable is a type of electrical wiring that consists of 2 or more insulated conductors enclosed in a non-metallic sheath. It is commonly used for residential wiring because it is relatively inexpensive and easy to install. However, NM cable is not suitable for all applications. It is not permitted in damp or wet locations or in hazardous locations. It is also subject to certain restrictions regarding its installation in basements and other areas where it may be subject to physical damage. Section 334.15 of the NEC provides specific requirements for the protection of NM cable against physical damage. It requires that NM cable be protected from damage where it passes through floors, walls, or other structural members. It also requires that NM cable be supported and secured in a manner that will prevent it from being damaged. As mentioned earlier, the 1996 NEC required that NM cable not be run closer than 6 inches from the floor in basements or through joists in unfinished basements or cellars. This requirement was intended to prevent the cable from being damaged by moisture or rodents. The 1999 NEC increased this minimum distance to 18 inches. This change was made because it was found that the 6-inch clearance was not always sufficient to protect the cable from damage. When installing NM cable in basements, it is important to follow the requirements of the NEC and any applicable local codes. This will help to ensure that the wiring is safe and will not be subject to damage. In addition to the NEC, there may be local electrical codes that apply in New York City. These codes may be more restrictive than the NEC in some areas. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine what codes are in effect. The New York City Electrical Code is based on the NEC, but it has been amended to reflect the specific needs of the city. The New York City Electrical Code is enforced by the New York City Department of Buildings. Electricians and inspectors who work in New York City must be familiar with the New York City Electrical Code. The history of electrical codes in New York City is complex. Prior to the adoption of the NEC, New York City had its own electrical code. This code was based on the NEC, but it contained a number of local amendments. In 1996, New York City adopted the NEC by reference. This means that the NEC became part of the New York City Electrical Code. However, New York City continued to maintain a separate electrical code with local amendments. The New York City Electrical Code was later amended to reflect the 1999 NEC. This means that the New York City Electrical Code is now based on the 1999 NEC with some local amendments. The adoption of the NEC by New York City was a significant event in the history of electrical codes in the city. It helped to standardize electrical installations and improve electrical safety. However, the New York City Electrical Code still contains a number of local amendments that must be followed by electricians and inspectors. These amendments are intended to address the specific needs of the city. For example, the New York City Electrical Code has specific requirements for the installation of electrical wiring in high-rise buildings. It also has specific requirements for the installation of electrical wiring in historic buildings. The New York City Electrical Code is a complex and comprehensive set of regulations. Electricians and inspectors who work in New York City must be familiar with the code in order to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant. The use of NM cable in New York City has been a subject of debate for many years. Some people believe that NM cable is not suitable for use in New York City because it is not as durable as other types of wiring. Others believe that NM cable is safe and effective when it is installed properly. The NEC permits the use of NM cable in residential occupancies. However, the NEC also requires that NM cable be protected from physical damage. This means that NM cable must be installed in a way that will prevent it from being damaged by moisture, rodents, or other hazards. The New York City Electrical Code also has specific requirements for the protection of NM cable. These requirements are intended to ensure that NM cable is installed safely and effectively in New York City. Electricians and inspectors who work in New York City must be familiar with the NEC and the New York City Electrical Code in order to ensure that NM cable is installed properly. In addition to the NEC and the New York City Electrical Code, there may be other local codes and regulations that apply to electrical installations in New York City. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine what codes and regulations are in effect. The installation of electrical wiring is a complex and potentially dangerous task. It is important to hire a qualified electrician to perform electrical work. A qualified electrician will be familiar with the NEC, the New York City Electrical Code, and any other applicable local codes and regulations. A qualified electrician will also have the experience and training necessary to install electrical wiring safely and effectively. When hiring an electrician, it is important to ask for references and to check the electrician's license. You should also make sure that the electrician is insured. Hiring a qualified electrician is the best way to ensure that your electrical work is done safely and properly. It is also important to have your electrical system inspected regularly. An electrical inspection can help to identify potential problems before they become serious. An electrical inspection can also help to ensure that your electrical system is compliant with the NEC and the New York City Electrical Code. If you are concerned about the safety of your electrical system, you should contact a qualified electrician to schedule an inspection. The NEC is a living document that is constantly being updated to reflect new technologies and best practices. The NEC is updated every 3 years by the National Fire Protection Association. The latest edition of the NEC is the 2023 edition. The 2023 NEC contains a number of significant changes. One of the most significant changes is the increased use of arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs. FSIs are devices that are designed to protect against electrical fires. They work by detecting arc faults, which are dangerous electrical conditions that can cause fires. The 2023 NEC requires FSIs to be installed in more locations than ever before. Another significant change in the 2023 NEC is the increased use of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs. GFCIs are devices that are designed to protect against electrical shock. They work by detecting ground faults, which are dangerous electrical conditions that can cause shocks. The 2023 NEC requires GFCIs to be installed in more locations than ever before. The 2023 NEC also contains a number of changes related to the installation of solar photovoltaic systems. These changes are intended to improve the safety and reliability of solar photovoltaic systems. The NEC is a complex and comprehensive set of regulations. Electricians and inspectors who work in the United States must be familiar with the NEC in order to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant. The NEC is available for purchase from the National Fire Protection Association. It is also available online through a number of different sources. If you are planning to do any electrical work, it is important to consult the NEC and any other applicable local codes and regulations. This will help to ensure that your work is done safely and properly. Electrical safety is a serious issue. It is important to take precautions to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. Here are some tips for electrical safety. Firstly, never overload electrical outlets or circuits. Secondly, do not use extension cords as a permanent wiring solution. Thirdly, keep electrical cords away from water. Fourthly, do not touch electrical equipment with wet hands. Fifthly, have your electrical system inspected regularly. Sixthly, install FSIs and GFCIs in your home. Seventhly, if you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following these tips, you can help to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. Non-metallic sheathed cable, or NM cable, is a popular choice for residential wiring due to its ease of installation and cost-effectiveness. However, understanding its limitations and proper installation techniques is crucial for ensuring safety and code compliant. The NEC outlines specific requirements for NM cable installation, particularly regarding protection from physical damage. This includes restrictions on running NM cable close to the floor in basements or through joists in unfinished areas. These restrictions are in place to prevent damage from moisture, rodents, and other potential hazards. The height requirement for NM cable above the floor in basements has evolved over time. The 1996 NEC specified a minimum height of 6 inches, while the 1999 NEC increased this to 18 inches. This change reflects a greater understanding of the potential risks to NM cable in basement environments. When working with NM cable, it's essential to consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local codes. Local codes may have additional requirements or restrictions beyond those outlined in the NEC. Compliance with all applicable codes is crucial for ensuring the safety and legality of electrical installations. In addition to height restrictions, the NEC also addresses the support and securing of NM cable. NM cable must be properly supported to prevent it from sagging or being subjected to strain. Support should be spaced appropriately to maintain the cable's integrity and prevent damage. When passing NM cable through framing members such as studs or joists, it's important to protect the cable from abrasion. This can be achieved by using grommets or other protective devices. The goal is to prevent the cable's insulation from being damaged, which could lead to shorts or other electrical hazards. NM cable is not suitable for all applications. It is generally prohibited in wet or damp locations, as well as in hazardous locations where flammable materials are present. In these environments, other types of wiring, such as conduit or metal-clad cable, are required. The proper selection of wiring methods is crucial for ensuring electrical safety and code compliance. When in doubt, consult with a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate wiring method for a particular application. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's essential to take precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. Always to energize circuits before working on them, and use appropriate personal protective equipment such as insulated gloves and safety glasses. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it's best to leave the work to a qualified electrician. In summary, understanding the NEC requirements for NM cable installation is crucial for ensuring safety and code compliance. This includes restrictions on running NM cable close to the floor in basements, proper support and securing techniques, and the selection of appropriate wiring methods for different environments. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local codes before undertaking any electrical work. And if you are not comfortable working with electricity, leave the work to a qualified electrician. Electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and best practices. Staying up to date on the latest changes is essential for electricians, inspectors, and anyone involved in electrical work. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and local codes may be updated more frequently. It's important to regularly review these codes and standards to ensure that you are using the most current and accurate information. In addition to the NEC, there are other organizations that develop electrical standards, such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE, and the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI. These standards cover a wide range of topics, including electrical safety, power quality, and electromagnetic compatibility. Staying informed about these standards can help you to improve the safety and performance of electrical systems. Continuing education is also important for staying up to date on the latest electrical codes and standards. There are many opportunities for electricians and inspectors to attend training courses and seminars. These courses can provide valuable information about new technologies, code changes, and best practices. Investing in continuing education can help you to improve your skills and knowledge, and it can also help you to maintain your professional credentials. The electrical industry is constantly evolving, and it's important to stay informed about the latest trends and developments. This includes new technologies, such as smart grids and electric vehicles, as well as changes in regulations and industry practices. By staying informed, you can position yourself for success in the electrical industry. The information provided here is intended for general educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer before undertaking any electrical work. And always follow all applicable codes and regulations. Electrical safety is a serious issue, and it's important to take precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. In addition to the technical aspects of electrical codes and standards, it's also important to consider the ethical implications of electrical work. Electricians and inspectors have a responsibility to ensure that electrical systems are installed and maintained safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. This includes being honest and transparent with clients and avoiding any conflicts of interest. It also includes reporting any violations of electrical codes or standards that you observe. By upholding the highest ethical standards, you can help to protect the public from electrical hazards. The electrical industry plays a vital role in our society. Electrical systems provide power to our homes, businesses, and infrastructure. They also enable us to use a wide range of electronic devices and equipment. Ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems is essential for maintaining our quality of life. By following electrical codes and standards, and by upholding the highest ethical standards, we can help to ensure that electrical systems continue to serve us safely and effectively for many years to come.